Hi, this is Randy. In this video, we want to look at installing a patch on our ESXi server that will allow us to run macOS. macOS is not supported on ESXi other than if you're running VMware ESXi on Mac hardware, then it's fully supported, but we're running it on Intel-based hardware on non-Mac servers. So this is a non-supported configuration. We want to make that clear. We are doing this just for training purposes so that we can learn a little bit about macOS as part of our training here in the site program. So let's take a look at our ESXi server. We can see here that we're at build 6.7.0 update 1 and then the build number. Alright, so let's take a look at kind of a high-level overview of what we're going to do here. This is what we're going to do, where we're going to go out and get the patch, and I've got the web link here for it. We're going to also look at another reference to the patch here, and the reason I put this link here is so you could see the README file. The README file for the patch gives you details about how it's intended to be installed. We'll then enable SSH on our ESXi server and upload the patch into a subdirectory onto data store 1. We will then use PuTTY, and from PuTTY we'll execute the patch. That's our goal. And then once we execute or run it and we patch ESXi, we will then reboot ESXi and verify that the patch was successful. There is a gotcha with this. Well, there's actually a couple things. This is a moving target. What we're doing, it changes every time I've done it. It's changed. What we're going to demonstrate here today is perhaps the easiest and the smoothest I've seen it in the last 2 years that I've done this. So it is a moving target, and so that's why I'm specifically saying what version of ESXi we're doing this to. We'll look at what version of the ESXi unlocker patch we're going to use, and again, it's a non-supported configuration. So let's go ahead and get started. So here on the website here, you can see the web link here. We've got the ESXi patch. It's a tar.gz file that we'll download. This is the best place to get it. Over here, another web link, we've got the breakdown of what's in there, and specifically we can look at the README file. So in the README file, it gives us the instructions about how the patch is to be installed. We're going to use some Unix commands here. The tar command, we're working with a tar.gz file, and we're going to run some scripts here. We're going to use some ls commands and whatnot. So that's why I gave you that web link. All right, let's get back to it. So on our ESXi server, we want to go ahead and enable SSH. I want to then use, I did go get the download. It's in my downloads folder. I've got the unlocker file. I now open up WinSecure Copy. So here's my downloads directory, and there's the file I'm after. Notice Windows doesn't recognize it. It's a TGZ, or what we call a tarball package. Over here I've got my my ESXi file system. And where I want to head to is I want to head to VMFS, the VMware File System Volumes. I'm going to put this on Data Store 1, and I'm going to create a directory called Tools. Now it does default, the Tools directory here does default to read, write, and execute. Again, this is Unix, Linux references for permissions. It defaults to 755, which is what you need in order to be able to put scripts into it and to run it. So we've got our 755 there. And then I want to go ahead now and I want to bring over, let me go ahead and open up this folder first. I want to now bring over this file. It's a very small file. It's a Python file. By the way, if you're into Python, then you can open it up and take a look and see it's really a pretty simplistic file. Alright, so we'll go ahead and move WinSecure Copy out of the way. And let's open up PuTTY. Okay, so let's log in using PuTTY to the server. Alright, so what we need to do is we use the ls command to navigate in Linux Unix, and we can do an easier view sometimes is ls-l. We get a long listing. Where we're headed to is we're headed to this directory right here, VMFS. I'll just work my way down and you can follow. So change directory to VMFS. I do an ls again, and volumes is our next target. So change directory to volumes. Do an ls again. we see these references to our data stores, and then here the actual name. You can use either one. Easy to use the actual name, so I'm going to change directory to data store 1. We do an ls, and then I see my tools directory. Let's do the ls-l again. There it is. You can see the permissions on that tools directory we created. That equates to 755. Okay. Going to now change directory into tools and do a ls-l, and let's go ahead then and referencing our readme file. Where is it here? Okay, the readme file, it says that to run this, to open up this archive, to extract it, we need to use tar xzvf and then the file. Now these are all parameters for the tar command, and I've got a website here that kind of breaks those down for you. So you extract it, and it's just all the options for it, but they're at the front of the command. Okay, again, I know I'm jumping around here, but hopefully you could pause the video if you need to take a deeper look. Okay, so that's the command that we need to run, and we're hoping for success. Now I got to tell you, there is a gotcha here, a learning curve for us, in that you need to have secure boot disabled. If you have secure boot enabled, it can't write this file, and you'll get a operation not permitted error. And last year not the case, this year the case, and as I mentioned, moving target. So let's do this. Before we run this command, my video is at 6.5 minutes. I'll quit, and I'll start up a part 2, and in part 2 I'll show you some of the symptoms that you get if you don't have secure boot enabled. So let me go ahead and wrap this one up, and we'll pick up then with part 2 of the video.